I'm here with Emcell, a rapper from Birmingham. Welcome to the show.
Hello, hello, hello.
And can you tell me a bit about how you started in music?
So my start in music actually came from COVID. I was very bored is actually quite an understatement. I was literally quite rotating through hobbies, trying to figure out what would be good for me to pass the time during COVID because I knew that I was going to be inside for a long time. And the thing that happened to work out and to stick was music.
And who would you say your top musical influences are?
I'll try and give you about three or four, but I would definitely say that Young Thug is definitely up there, always has been. This is gonna probably throw you off a little bit, but I've been a massive fan of Linkin Park since I was a child. Um, who else can I say? I actually am a fan of NBA Youngboy as well. It sounds crazy, but can't really play him on the radio. But I also like people like Lola Young and stuff like that, and I like people who have more of a melodical approach to music because I am just, in most terms a rapper, but I do have, different perspectives on different genres, of course.
Yeah, that's a sick like combination. Have you had the album with Linkin Park and Jay-Z where they did the collab?
One of my
So
favorite.
sick in it.
But if I'm gonna be honest, after the lead singer passed away, I did start to lose a bit of interest. I will be honest.
Hmm.
Because he was kind of to me that he was my main inspiration of the group, and obviously he was the voice of the group.
Mhm.
Obviously, as somebody who my instrument is my voice, that is something that I definitely have an ear for. So with me, when it comes to music, I kind of look more for people who know how to deliver what they're saying rather than what they are saying.
Okay, so out of your musical influences, or maybe another artist, who would you say your music is most like?
Ooh, that's a hard question, I think it's a hard question because I feel like I have UK influences and I also have American influences. In terms of American influences, I don't want to be too, that guy, but definitely a bit of Carti and Spo. I'd probably definitely say that Lil Uzi was definitely a massive part of my inspiration, especially in my early steps of my career. But yeah, I'd probably say mainly those two, possibly.
No, that's fair. I feel like you can hear both of those artists in your tracks that we're gonna dive into a bit more in a bit. Starting off, where did the
Awesome.
name Emcell come from?
So I originally took the stage with a different name. I was originally the artist known as labboymarni, but I in a way, I would say that at one point in my life, I was going through very stressful situations and I kind of just started to fall out of love with music. And then I kind of just put it down altogether and I deleted all of my discography as Labboy Money. And I just decided, like, that was where I was going to leave it. And then things took a change. Music came back into my life. I got management. I'm in a group. I'm with the team. And then, like, yeah, I had a fresh start. I thought I had to sit there long and hard, and I'm not really good at sitting there long and hard. I'm very impatient. So I was like, okay, I need to think of a name. Didn't really think about if it was going to stick or not, but M is literally just EM. My nickname in school, as you would know because you went with me, was Marnie. M for Marnie. So that's kind of where that part comes from. And then you probably may know that I'm also a massive like anime nerd. So Cell is my favorite villain from Dragon Ball Z. So it's a combination of an abbreviation of my name and my favorite Dragon Ball villain.
Mm. And how would you say making music is different on your own opposed to being in a group?
Um, to be fair, in my perspective, I have mostly been in a group when I have been making music. Obviously, there was the original group that I was with, which was the Lab Boys. And then after like I came back to music, obviously I was with the group SK4. Obviously, to an extent, there was a lot of dependence during those groups, but at the same time, I always have had that support. But in terms of when I have taken it into my own hands and been a dependent artist, I feel like one thing I hate to admit is that I do work better on my own.
Mm.
I do work better on my own. I have to admit it. But with that it's not necessarily that it's harder for me to work around people or work with people. It's just that when I started making music, I started alone in COVID in lockdown, and that's kind of just how like my brain is set and used to it. So the best music that I make tends to be when I'm in my own environment on my own.
Mm. It's your routine. I guess that moment, like being in COVID, because we was all by ourselves, like your brain's probably conditioned to it.
Exactly.
But going into your tracks now, so you collaborated with Cola B on the track Random. Talk to me about how that project came about and what was the process like working with her?
I loved the process of this honestly because it was the most random thing ever. So I picked up a job just like to make some extra change on the side, apart from my main obviously occupation, and that is working in a nightclub. And at that particular nightclub, I met Cola. Obviously people got to talking and we found out we, each other was artists. I also had another friend that worked there called Splash. Shout out to Splash Productions. He's an amazing, amazing, amazing producer and engineer. He works very closely with Cola. So what do you call it? We literally all got together, sat down, had a conversation. Me and Cola literally kind of just sat there and was like, we both got I feel like a decent amount of chemistry if we put something together. So we ended up doing that. I ended up going home and within a week I'd sent her a verse and I'd probably say within 2 weeks she'd sent it back and it was amazing, mixed to a T, and it was ready for release the moment she sent it and it was 10 out of 10. People loved it.
Yeah, and of course, of that track, there's two different versions. What's different between the versions? Why did you want to do two different sort of tracks?
So the story behind that is that song, I didn't make that song or write that song this year. What originally that was, I had made that song in 2023 and I had made it under a different instrumental and under a different beat. But by the time that I had actually came back around to the verse and thought, okay, maybe I could use this, the beat that I had in mind had been purchased by somebody else, so it was no longer up for use. So then I had to speak with my engineer, shout out to Josh English, and he pretty much just said, well, if you send me your stems, we can produce something around it. And he sent me two versions, and to me, that was amazing because as an artist, one thing that I definitely like to have is some form of diversity and to be able to produce different sounds for people to hear because I feel like a lot of the time people when they hear the same thing repetitively, they are going to get sick of it. So I just like that with that there was that chance of versatility. Originally, it was for me to choose between one or the other, and I said, nah, I'm dropping both of them. These are beautiful. I feel like people should have a choice between what ones they should listen to. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they were both like sick tracks. They were different, like sort of vibes, but they both stand alone. When it comes
Yeah.
to obviously accents, you mentioned that Playboy Carti of your influences, and you can kind of hear it in your songs. So from the track Back for Me, you have an American cadence. Did that come from those artists?
Um, I would say that during that time period, that was a very experimental time for me because that was me basically leaping headfirst straight back into music. I was experimenting with very many different genres. I wasn't just trying rap. I was doing R&B, I was doing alternative, I was doing indie music. I was just experimenting with a lot of sounds, a lot of cadences, a lot of voices, a lot of tones. And the one that ended up working the most for me was obviously the American accent. So that's kind of just what I went with.
Hmm. Do you prefer rapping in a British accent or an American accent?
Um, I would say that I don't really have a preference, and the way that I tend to choose how I'm going to do so is a lot of the time I'm listening to the beat, the instrumental. I'm listening to the instruments that are being used in the beat, and I'm considering to myself, would you find this more in a UK kind of beat, or would you find this more in an American kind of beat? So, for example, if I'm sitting there listening to a beat and it sounds like something that possibly, NBA Youngboy or any of, the American like groups would do, I'm gonna probably try and take that approach. But then at the same time, there is also times where you can create a bit of a hybrid where it can be like a very American sounding beat, but you can definitely layer on some UK kind of stuff. But I would say I don't have a preference in general.
Yeah, even with songs like De Niro and Cake that are on SoundCloud and not Spotify, how do you differentiate what you're releasing, I guess, officially on like Apple Music and Spotify and what you're keeping on SoundCloud?
So, with the differentiation, there was a bit of issues with my discographer this year, which is why De Niro ended up being on SoundCloud and not on platforms. I'm gonna get into why De Niro is on there shortly, but Cake, that was a song that I had up in my discography as labboymarni, and it is one of my friends and actually family's favorites. So like I kind of just thought to myself, if I completely remove it from the internet, they're not going to forgive me. Let me just leave it at least in one place. With De Niro, that I didn't necessarily want to throw it all out straight onto platforms because that is a part of a larger project that will be coming to platforms all at once. And I didn't want to just, throw it on there and then it's already out there. And then by the time the album comes out, everyone's kind of heard that song. I kind of just want everyone to have a fresh approach to when I do drop this project because it's the biggest thing that I have definitely done in my career as a musician.
So working on this upcoming project, can you tease like what's going on with it? Like how many songs are we gonna get? What's the vibe for it?
I'm definitely gonna go back on what I said when it comes to the versatility because I feel the versatility is an all-time high with this project. I can definitely give you some information on the project. One thing I will not disclose is the release date. So it's actually an album. It's called Candid, and it will have 10 tracks.
You can't even tease like when the season is gonna drop, maybe the
Oh,
year.
winter, winter. It'll be before the year's done. It'll be before the year's done.
Okay, looking forward to it. And of course, you've got a track called Mirror releasing this month featuring Nameless the Bully. What can you tell us about that release?
Right. So this is kind of post me making the project, and I had gotten to a point where I kind of felt like I was at a standstill, or maybe what you would consider it as an author, if you are an author. Shout out to the authors if anybody's listening. A writer's block. And a lot of the time, I differentiate from either writing my songs or just punching in and out. And a lot of artists will know what I mean by that, but that's basically just recording line for line almost. But I was basically at a standstill and I had to take a couple of weeks to basically just step away from music because as much as I love doing it, too much of your craft can consume you. And I just didn't want to get myself into that thought process. So I gave myself a couple of weeks. I stood back. I came back, re-listened to my album, and I thought to myself, what can I do to make a song or a sound that is different? Obviously experimented with some sounds, some beats, sent it back to my manager. She absolutely loved it, and she thought, you know what, this actually could do with an amazing feature. And as you said, Nameless the Bully is the artist that is featured on this song. He is actually from South Africa, and he currently lives there. And he is a obviously small time independent artist from there. And she made the connections because obviously she also sort of manages him as well in a way. We're part of something called the Prod Network, and we have, I think it's over 150,000 streams in total for the network. But yeah, pretty much we got to communicating. I got to know Nameless's sound very quickly, and I was definitely like, enjoying it. I sent him the song and I was like, listen, whatever you send back, I'm definitely gonna like. He sent it back to me within a week, and it was probably the best feature that I've had, including from my previous experience as an artist and my current experience.
Mhm.
But yeah.
Okay. So this track, is it the first off the album or is it completely separate and then you're gonna release different singles a part of that project?
This is completely separate to the project. This is just something to get, myself get back up back and running pretty much because I haven't had a release since March. I know I probably should have been a bit more consistent this year, but things happen. But as I said, we've got bigger things coming and consistency is definitely something that we can, narrow in.
Yeah, so of course the album is coming. What are you looking forward to when it comes to that album? Is it the visuals, music videos? Is it just the tracks themselves and people finally hearing this body of work? What can we look forward to?
So when it comes to my music, a lot of the time I have to try and make some sort of balance because as I said, versatility is very important and I have to have some sort of, differentiation, different genre or whatever. With this album, I feel like what I'm looking forward to personally is definitely performing it because what I will be doing is I will be performing it at my show at December the 5th, which is before the release date. So if anybody's coming to that, they will get to hear the whole thing early. Um, that is what I'm looking forward to. That is performing it, getting people's reactions firsthand, because I know a lot of the people that will come to the show won't know anything about me or anything about my music. And if they do, it will only be the small selection of music I actually have out currently. And then you also mentioned music videos. I am very much looking forward to these music videos because we do have a lot in mind. Um, Especially going forward with like visualizers as well. Like I have a lot of ideas and I just can't wait to get them out there.
Love to hear it. Are
Awesome.
you ready for a quick fire round of questions?
Oh, quick fire. I'm not good under pressure, but let's go.
It's all right, you'll be fine. So, question number one. If you were a boxer, what would your ring walk song be?
Ooh, currently right now, it's gotta be SD Kid Full Raws.
Okay.
SD Kid Full Raws, because SD Kid, he has a very raw and very hard sound, and it's also the fact that you can tell as an artist he doesn't battle with his cadence. He's very much just like, yeah, I'm Scouse. I know this is unique, and I know this is gonna work for me. And the song is just overall very energetic, and I love that. And as a boxer, you want energy around you, don't you?
Exactly. If you were in a food fight, what would your food of choice be?
Um, I'm gonna say pumpkins.
Okay. Halloween season, we love it.
Halloween season.
Exactly. What was your childhood movie that shaped you as a kid?
Cat in the Hat by Dr. Seuss. I had watched that film at least 300 times, and that is not a joke.
That is a classic.
I'm not kidding. Yeah,
Okay, this is a serious question, yeah. Death row
right.
meal. Okay. We got starters, mains, sides, drink, dessert.
Starters, sides, main drink, dessert. Starter, I ain't gonna lie, we're gonna start off with a little bit of sushi because I do love me some sushi. It can't have avocado in it though, unfortunately, because I'm allergic. Oops. Um, I'm gonna say for a side, probably maybe like some shrimp bites or something like that, because I love me some seafood. A main, I'm probably gonna say like a chicken parmesan. I love chicken parmesan. Like it's so beautiful. Like who decided to invent putting chicken and cheese in the same meal? Like drinks wise, I'm gonna say I'm not really a big drinks person. I'll probably just go with like an apple juice or something. And then I don't know if you said dessert, but I love ice cream, so I'm gonna go with ice cream.
Any particular flavor?
Or it's either gonna be rum and raisin or it's gonna be Haagen-Dazs strawberry cheesecake.
Okay, fairs. And final question, top five albums of all time.
See, this is the question that I knew that I was gonna struggle with. So I'm gonna say that Sar Baby, who's a artist from Atlanta, his latest album, which I can't remember the name of, which is very terrible. I would say that is definitely my top five. I'm probably gonna say that's five. Four would probably be Music by Playboi Carti, but it's also debatable, and I wouldn't say that every song on there is a hit. Three, I'm really a massive, massive fan of Kendrick Lamar also, which I probably should have mentioned sooner. I'd probably say To Pimp a Butterfly is up there and Damn would definitely also be up there. So that's my three and two. Number one, you remember this from school. You remember the days. Who do you think I'm gonna say?
I have no idea. Give me a clue.
Um, everybody used to basically violate me in school for liking him, but the day he died, everybody acted sad about it.
Oh, let me think. Juice World.
Before him.
XX Tentacion.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I do
And
remember.
it's gonna be the question mark album. I believe it's a question mark album. But
Perfect.
yeah.